Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm fine. I was hoping you could help me out a little bit with some dietary issues that I'm having.
All right. Well, what kind of dietary issues are you having?
I'm actually looking to lose between 15 and 20 pounds. I weigh 190 right now. I'm 5'9", and I would like to shrink that down a little bit.
Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to start is we're going to go through a 24-hour diet recall, and then we're going to look at your food frequency, and then I'm going to give you tips for reducing your caloric intake, and
Okay.
hopefully by the end of that you'll be ready to start it. Was yesterday a typical eating day for you?
Yes, I would say so. I got up, had breakfast, went to work, and had 2 other meals, including some snacks in between.
Okay. Around what time was your first meal, presumably breakfast?
I had breakfast around 7:30 when I got up,
Okay.
and for breakfast I had a toasted sesame bagel with some cream cheese as well as a cup of coffee to start the day.
All right. Could you tell me about how large the bagel was?
A regular size, maybe that.
Okay. About how much cream cheese did you have?
Maybe 2 tablespoons.
Okay. How do you take your coffee in the morning?
My coffee I have to have with cream and sugar. 3 seconds of cream and 2 teaspoons of sugar.
Okay. Do you about know how much cream that would be? 3 seconds, like 3 Mississippi seconds? Or?
Maybe a third of a cup.
Okay. Alrighty. And for your reference, I've drawn some portion sizes on the board for you. So if anything you don't really know how to show, you can just point to one of these
Thank
on
you.
the board. So is that all you had for breakfast?
Yes. And when I got to work, like I said, I had some snacks. I had a large glass of orange juice and a snack bag of pretzels.
Okay. About what time was that?
9:15.
9:15. Okay. Do you know about how much orange juice it was? You said large glass. What's a
If
large
I had
glass?
to say, I would say maybe 12 ounces.
Okay. Did you have orange juice with pulp in it? Or was it just regular orange juice, some pulp?
Yes, it was pulp.
A lot of pulp?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. That's how I like it.
Okay. And you said a snack bag of pretzels?
Just one of the small children's portions.
All right. The mini size snacks. All right. And about what time did you have lunch?
Lunch was 12:30 or 1 o'clock. I went out to Moe's to get a burrito with some friends. I chose to have a beef and bean burrito with the side of some chips, guacamole, and salsa. And to wash that down, I had some lemonade.
Okay. Could you tell me what else did you put on the burrito?
Sour cream, guacamole, bacon, and queso cheese.
Okay. About how large? I mean, I understand that Moe's is usually gives you a large portion size. Can you show me how big it possibly was?
The burrito, maybe that big.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And you said you had chips on the side. About how many chips did you eat?
Maybe 12 to 15 chips. And if we're going by this, maybe a fourth of a cup of guacamole and salsa each.
Okay.
And the lemonade, probably the same as the orange juice earlier, 12 ounces.
Okay. Perfect. Did you have a snack in between lunch and dinner?
Yes. Before dinner, I had a granola bar as well as a bag of trail mix. Fruit, peanuts, M&Ms, and I washed that down with some water.
Okay. About what time was that?
2:30.
2:30 or so. Um, what kind of granola bar was it?
Chewy granola bar, one of the kids'
Oh, one of the
granola
small
bars.
ones. Okay.
Yeah, stealing from my kids.
um, all right. And did you have anything else for that snack other than water?
Like I said, the trail mix,
Right.
maybe an ounce bag full.
Okay. So for your third meal, dinner, about what time was that?
I got home around 6:30 or 7, and my wife cooked me a large portion of pork chops. For sides, I had corn on the cob and maybe a cup of mashed potatoes with some butter and salt.
Okay. Um, about how big, if we were referring to the palm size of your hand,
Mm-hmm.
was the pork chop?
The pork chop would probably just fit in my hand. It was a large piece.
Okay. And you said you had corn as well. Was it on the cob? Was it?
Yes. One piece of corn on the cob, smothered in butter, sprinkled with salt.
Would you call it? What size would you call it, the corn on the cob?
That was just an average corn cob piece.
Sorry. All right. And you said you had mashed potatoes as well, and you said about a cup. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And you made those with butter and salt.
Yes, butter on both.
Do you know how much butter you might have put in the mashed potatoes?
Maybe 1/3 of a cup between the whole meal.
Okay. Did you have anything to drink with this meal?
Yes, for dinner I washed it down with a glass of milk.
All right. How much milk do you think you had? And
Probably 12 ounces, and usually I have one, but this time I had 2% milk.
Okay. After dinner, did you have a snack or a dessert?
Yes. For dessert, I had 1 cup of light chocolate ice cream.
All right. And around what time was that?
That might have been around midnight or 1 in the morning.
Okay. All right. Now that we've gone through the 24-hour recall, I'm going to ask you about your food frequency, which is how often you eat foods during the week.
Okay.
So for starters, I noticed that you had milk in your meals as well as you drank it as a glass of just with meals as well. And you drink 2% usually, or was it?
Usually 1%, but with a growing child at home, we decided to switch over to 2%.
Okay. And do you usually have it with meals?
Yes, I'll have milk with my cereal maybe 3 to 4 times a week, but as just a glass of milk once a week, perhaps, if that.
Okay. As far as vegetables go, I noticed that you didn't have many vegetables in here. Do you consume vegetables other days of the week? Are they fresh, frozen, canned?
Well, we do have a vegetable garden, which is mostly summer squash, zucchini, lettuce, tomato, and broccoli. But I usually only fit those into my meals maybe 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay. So you're eating vegetables on average 3 to 4 times per week.
Yes.
Okay. You said zucchini, squash, broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tomatoes. Do you have fruits in your garden?
We have a few raspberry bushes, but we don't get a lot off of them. But I do love fruit. I have it at work and at home in my smoothies.
And it's usually fresh?
Actually, I would say that most of the fruit that I consume is frozen.
Okay. And you said your favorite types of fruit to eat are raspberries.
Mm-hmm. Raspberries, strawberries, and pineapple, usually.
And how many times per week do you usually consume these?
3 to 4 times a week again.
Okay. As far as bread goes, how often do you eat bread, and what type of bread is it?
I would say that bread makes up a large portion of my diet, maybe 5 or 6 times a week. I'll have it as a side with dinner, with a sandwich, toast in the morning, that kind of thing.
Okay. How often do you eat toast in the morning?
2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. Speaking of morning foods, do you eat cereal often in the morning?
Cereal, I'll start my day with 4 or 5 times a week.
All right. Um, as far as starches go, do you eat or consume potatoes, rice, pasta, legumes often? Which ones and how often?
Um, the majority of the time, it's usually either rice or pasta,
Mm-hmm.
and both of those, I would say 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay. Do you consume, what kind of do you consume?
Usually it's whole grain pasta and brown rice.
All right. Perfect. Is your family a meat eating family? Do you consume meats at all during the week, or are you vegetarian?
Yes, it's usually chicken 2 to 3 times a week. For dinner, maybe either steak or pork once a week.
Okay. Do you consume cold cuts or processed meats such as bacon or sausage often?
Cold cuts maybe once a week on a sandwich for lunch, and bacon or sausage I will usually have twice a week.
Okay. Um, is it turkey sausage or is it usually just the regular kind of sausage?
Um, it's regular sausage. I actually prefer turkey bacon to regular
Turkey
bacon.
bacon, okay.
hmm
As far as eggs go, do you eat them often in the morning for snacks?
Eggs, maybe I'll have twice a week, either scrambled or fried on a bagel.
All right. And do you usually use the whole egg, or do you just use the egg whites, or just a little bit?
Yes, I heard the yolk was good for you, so I try to get that in there as much as I can.
Okay. Um, do you consume cheese, maybe on your eggs, or at any point during the day as a snack?
Yes, that'd probably be the only time on my eggs, so once a week.
All right. Is it usually natural, like cheddar, or processed, regular, low fat, full
We
fat?
always have American in the house. I know that's pretty processed, but either that or cheddar, but mostly American.
Okay. Uh, do you use fats to cook?
Like I said before, I usually use butter or some kind of olive oil, canola oil to cook with.
Okay. Um, with your eggs, you usually use them to fry eggs and such.
Yeah, either eggs or chicken or beef.
Do you consume salad dressing often? Do you have salads?
No, not very often, but when I do, I usually like to have Italian dressing.
And about how often per week? Do you have it per week, or is it more of a rare thing?
It's a rare occurrence, but I do like to have maybe a half a cup of Italian dressing on a salad.
Okay. How often do you consume convenience foods such as 7-Eleven, easy grab and go things?
Well, I'm usually on the go, so probably 4 to 5 times a week I'll stop into the convenience store and pick up maybe a bag of chips, a pretzel, or a bag of candy.
Okay. Uh, do you purchase soups, canned,
Um,
dehydrated, or do you make soups at home?
no, it's a very rare occurrence, only when someone's sick in the family, so maybe once a month.
All right. Snacks. Do you? I noticed that you consumed things such as tortilla chips, and as far as convenience foods went, you mentioned chips, regular chips, tortilla chips, pretzels. Do you? Is that your usual? go-to? And do you eat, how many times a week do you eat that?
For snacks, yeah, I'll do chips, popcorn, tortilla chips, and any number of those, maybe 5 times a week, just to keep me filled up in between meals.
All right. Um, Desserts. I noticed that you had a cup of chocolate ice cream. Is that a daily thing, or is it just a few days a week? Cookies, cake, pie.
Usually, just on the weekends, I'll have either a cup of ice cream or some chocolate chip cookies to finish my evening off.
Once or twice a week,
Yes.
usually. On that same note, candy. Do you consume candy more than on the weekends?
Yeah, I'd say I get a bag or bar of candy at work fairly often, maybe 6 times a week.
Okay. As far as coffee goes, you drink coffee in the morning. Do you always take your coffee that way? And do you drink it more than just yesterday? Do you drink it every day?
Yes, I do have coffee every day. Sometimes I'll switch it up with tea, but either way, it's going to have cream or sugar in it.
The same amounts that you had before?
Yes, yep.
Soft drinks. Do you drink soft drinks normally?
Yes. As for soda, maybe I'll have twice a week. I've been trying to cut down. I used to drink more, but yeah, twice a week.
Okay. Alcoholic beverages along those lines?
I'll have a beer like everybody else. Maybe a Friday night, I'll go out with my friends and have 4 or 5. But other than that, I don't drink that much.
Is that once a week? Just Friday night,
yes.
usually?
Yes, usual occurrence, Friday nights.
As far as vitamins or minerals go, do you take a multivitamin on top of your regular choices?
No. That seems like a women's thing. I try to get most of my vitamins from my food.
Okay. So not really at all?
No.
As far as supplements go, are you familiar with fish oil, herbal supplements, things like that?
I'll try to have something in my tea, but other than that, maybe protein powder, if that would count.
Protein powder, all right. Do you usually put that in shakes?
Yes. I'll do it in a shake with almond milk or in my smoothies with some fruit.
Okay. Do you ever have that as a snack?
Have what
Smoothies?
as a snack? Yes, I would say so, fairly often.
As far as cooking goes, you say your wife cooks a lot. Do you happen to know if she adds in a lot of extra salt when she's cooking, or do you personally add a lot of salt at the table?
I do like to put salt on things like mashed potatoes, French fries. I would say I have a high salt diet.
Okay. All right. And as far as fast food goes, how often do you go out per week?
Like I said before, I'm on the go, so maybe 2 to 3 meals a week consist of either fast food or takeout.
Okay. Awesome. So that concludes the 24-hour recall and the food frequency checklist. I'm just going to read off to you some advice that I would give you that I've noticed throughout your diet. To start with, in your morning, I've noticed that it's a little bit carb heavy as far as the sesame bagel goes, and just the cream cheese, coffee, sugar, and over the course of the morning, orange juice and pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that you may want to start with a more substantial breakfast, such as maybe take half a bagel and put an egg on or so on it. You like eggs? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we put that on it. It will keep you satiated for longer. You won't feel as much craving for sugar and for carbs. So that way you'll feel, and you might even eliminate the snack in the morning.
Okay.
Which would definitely reduce your caloric intake, and you'll feel more satisfied. The second thing I would suggest is to reduce or replace some carbs with complex carbs or some different kinds of carbs. most of the carbs that you've consumed were in added sugars, in breads, things like that. Maybe instead of mashed potatoes, you try maybe sweet potatoes, which are that's just a healthier version. They're a little sweet too, so it might help your sweet tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the morning, instead of orange juice and pretzels, you can have a cup of fruit. I know that you liked raspberries and strawberries, so you can definitely incorporate those more into your diet.
Okay.
Another thing I noticed that you only drank 1 glass of water throughout your whole day, and the other beverages you drank were sugary and had added sugar in them. So I suggest maybe drinking more water, like once per meal, maybe even at snacks as well, to increase that. Um, as far as that goes, you can, if you don't want to get rid of your orange juice in the morning, it was good that you had pulp in the orange juice. It helps lower blood sugar with the fiber of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to completely get rid of that, you could just cut down the amount to 4 ounces and then replace the rest of the, excuse me, the orange juice you would have drank with water, like another 8 ounces of
Okay.
water, just to have that with it. So you can have that. It's the best of both worlds, just less calories. And the last thing I would suggest is, I know this is very stereotypical, but you did not eat many vegetables. So things like corn and mashed potatoes, they aren't the most nutrient dense.
Really?
Yes, they're actually considered a starch, and they will be metabolized in your body as a starch, like breads. So I would suggest, if you're not a huge fan of vegetables, I know that you had a garden, so maybe start incorporating those vegetables into stir fries. Try to find ways such as roasting vegetables that'll add flavor to it to help increase your intake of them if you don't really like the taste of raw or steamed vegetables.
Okay, thank you. That sounds good.
Yeah, so that concludes our visit, and I hope to see you next week, and we can see how your changes went.
All right. Thank you very much,
you.
miss.
Have a good day.
You as well.